Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into this really powerful story of faith, desperation, and community, all from a small village in Taiwan. And it all centers around a very mysterious local deity.
So, we're going to jump straight into the heart of the action. Picture this. It's a dark and stormy night, and a life is hanging precariously in the balance.
Okay, so in this remote place called Yuexi Village, a woman named Xiao Qin is in the middle of a really dangerous labor. The baby's in a breech position, which, is incredibly risky. And to make things worse, a violent storm has completely cut the village off from the rest of the world. The roads are just impassable. There are no doctors, the phone lines are dead, and it feels like all hope is lost. In this moment of pure desperation, Shochin turns to the only option she has left. She tells her husband, Zhang, to run to the local temple and pray. They're literally placing their lives in the hands of a local spirit. This just raises a huge question, right? Who is this figure, this lady under the moon, who is so powerful that she's the absolute last resort in a life or death situation? To really get it, we need to rewind the clock and uncover the origin story of this mysterious guardian.
Now, here's what's really fascinating. This beloved guardian didn't start out as some powerful, revered deity. No, her story actually begins with sorrow, with tragedy, and with a whole lot of fear. Her story starts way back in the Qing dynasty. She was a young woman, unmarried, who died tragically from illness. Now, according to the traditional beliefs back then, this left her spirit in a terrible kind of limbo, basically homeless and untethered in the afterlife. And this brings us to this really crucial concept of a guhuan, which translates to a lonely soul. These were the spirits of people who died without a family to make offerings to them, without a place in an ancestral hall, and because they were seen as wandering, they were often feared, seen as potentially dangerous.
So you see the problem here. Her spirit was completely trapped. She could never be honored by a husband's family because she never married. And she couldn't really stay with her own family either because she was technically supposed to leave and join another. She belonged absolutely nowhere.
So how on earth did this feared, lonely soul undergo such a remarkable transformation? Let's take a look at how she became the beloved protector of the very village that was once so terrified of her. At first, it really seemed like the village's fears were justified. I mean, right after she passed away, weird things started happening. People heard unsettling cries in the night, children started getting sick, livestock too. The whole community was gripped by fear. But then, something amazing happened. A village priest had this incredibly vivid dream, and the spirit appeared to him. And she didn't threaten him. Instead, she offered a deal. If they would help her, she would, in turn, protect them.
This was the big turning point. The villagers listened to the priest, and they chose compassion instead of fear. They built her a small temple with a little pebble path to welcome the moonlight, and they hung a wind chime. And you know what? Almost immediately, all the strange disturbances just stopped. And she became their guardian.
After that, her legend just grew and grew. She was credited with bringing good harvests and keeping families safe. But she became most famous for one very particular blessing, helping couples who were struggling to have children. And that is exactly why, centuries later, Shaoqing and Zhang placed all their hope in her. And that brings us full circle, right back to that desperate, stormy night. Now we understand why Zhang is running through that torrential rain. His family's entire fate is tied to the long, strange story of this ancient spirit. So, the situation is absolutely dire. Zhang is all alone, he's battling a storm, and he's running to a small temple. What could possibly happen now to change anything? When Zhang finally reaches the temple, soaked and totally breathless, he sees something that just seems impossible. There's a warm, steady light glowing from inside, and when he looks in, he finds the village's long-retired midwife, just calmly sweeping the floor. The midwife tells him this incredible story. She says she had a strange dream that compelled her to come to the temple, and on a total whim, she brought her old midwifery kit with her. She is convinced the lady under the moon herself guided her there. Meanwhile, back at the house, Xiaoqin is at the absolute peak of her agony when she has a vision. She sees this gentle light and the figure of a kind woman in a simple dress who seems to place a calming hand on her belly.
In that exact same moment, the midwife, who's been trying everything to help, feels a sudden shift. She just shouts out in total astonishment. The baby has miraculously turned into the correct position for birth. The impossible has just happened.
So, after a night of absolute terror and a moment of unbelievable grace, let's look at the aftermath, at the legacy this one single event left on the entire village.
Against all odds, just as the storm outside finally starts to calm down, a healthy baby girl is born. Both mother and child are safe and well.
To honor the guardian who they believe saved them, the overjoyed parents give their daughter this beautiful name, Yuhua. It means moonlight radiance, a direct and loving tribute to the Lady Under the Moon.
This event solidifies the lady's status in the village forever. She's no longer just some local protector. She becomes this powerful symbol of compassion, of hope, and of miraculous intervention. They even give her a new title, the Romantic Guardian God. And this really leaves us with a fascinating final thought. This entire legacy of protection, this whole story culminating in a modern-day miracle, it all began with a simple act of kindness from a village toward a lonely, forgotten soul. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? How a community's compassion can ripple through centuries, creating its own powerful legends.